Yo, what's going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV. We are back with another video, and in this video we are going to be talking about the 1981 comedy horror film written and directed by John Landis. We have An American Werewolf in London, the monster movie, I guess. I don't know, man. This movie is really interesting. It's very generic, though. There's some really weird, funny. It definitely has some comedy elements to it. I'll give it credit for that. But we're gonna talk about the plot, kind of get into the critical response, kind of what I think of the movie. And yeah, that's gonna do it for the video. I have a lot to do today, so let's get to it. So the plot follows two American graduate students from New York City, David Kessler and Jack Goodman, who are trekking across the moors in Yorkshire, which is in England somewhere. I think it's like pretty close to. It might be a city in. I don't know. It might be a city somewhere. I guess in England. I don't know. I don't know if they have like provinces or something. Maybe it is a province. It doesn't matter. So as night falls, they stop at the Slaughtered Lamb, a local pub. Maybe get something to eat, get something to drink, maybe kind of stow away for a little bit, so they don't have to sit out there in the fucking wilderness. But so Jack notices a five-pointed star on the pub's wall. We all know what this means. We all have watched enough horror movies to know what this means. So when he asks about it, the pub goers grow hostile and he and David leave. They act super weird. They start kind of yelling at them a little bit and they're like, you know what, let's just leave these people alone. It's like, there's no point. So the pub goers warn the pair to keep to the road, stay clear of the moors, and beware the full moon. So obviously we know what a full moon means. It means that there are werewolves involved, obviously. So yeah, duh. So they're like, oh, psh, whatever. So David and Jack wander off the road and onto the moors where a vicious creature attacks them. They're like, oops, we went off the moors. And they're like acting playful about it, and then out of nowhere, a werewolf just attacks them. Well, a vicious creature, I guess we don't see that it's a werewolf at first. So Jack is killed and David is seriously injured. He has to be hospitalized. The beast is shot and killed by some concerned pub goers who followed the two young men because they knew something was up. They knew something was going to go wrong. They knew these idiots would not follow their rules or listen to them. So instead of an animal carcass, David sees a nude dead man lying next to him before passing out. And it's weird with this film because I think the werewolf kind of represents like a madman and it like possesses people to do maniacal things. It's like a curse throughout the film that if you get hit with it, you become it. If you don't die. But yeah. David wakes up 3 weeks later in a London hospital. He's literally asleep for 3 weeks straight. I guess he got hurt that fucking badly. But Inspector Villiers interviews David and informs him that the locals reported that an escaped lunatic attacked him and Jack. And he's sitting there looking at him like, no, we weren't attacked by a man. We were attacked by this monster, this werewolf. So David insists a rabid dog or wolf attacked him. I mean, his vision was kind of blurry at that fucking moment. He doesn't remember shit from 3 weeks ago. So an undead Jack later appears to David and explains that they were attacked by a werewolf. Like, he's confirming, like, yeah, you're not tripping, we were attacked by a werewolf. Since David was bitten, he is now a werewolf too. And if you get bitten and die, obviously you're dead, but if you get bitten and don't die, you become a werewolf. It's like a fucking zombie movie. It's like every other fucking horror movie out there. Oh, it's like a contagion. Let's just represent viruses 40 million times in a movie form. But Jack is cursed to walk the earth in limbo, neither dead nor alive, until the wolf's bloodline is severed. So he has to find kind of the source. Again, it's super generic, it's super cliche. There's nothing surprising about what happens in this movie at all, which is why I'm probably, at the end of the day, not going to give it a great rating. I mean, obviously, it came out over 40 years ago, so like it has some originality to it, I'm sure. But looking back on it now, with all the other stuff that's come out, it doesn't make it that special anymore. So Jack urges David to kill himself before the next full moon so he does not harm anyone. And it's kind of like represents serial killers and maniacal people. There's definitely a cool underlying tone, meaning, whatever you want to call it to this, where like, oh, you should just kill yourself for like doing what you're doing. But Dr. Hirsch visits the slaughtered lamb to investigate, who's the doctor that was tending to him. So he visits this pub to investigate, suspecting that David might have been influenced by local superstitions. When asked about the incident, the pub goers deny any knowledge of David, Jack, or the attack. Obviously, they're lying because they don't want to criminal investigation started against them. They don't want people like prodding at them constantly. So they're like, no, we don't know who these people are. So, however, one distraught pubgoer privately tells Dr. Hurst that David will endanger other people when he transforms. He's going to turn into this monster. Again, another classic horror trope of, oh, I don't believe you. The boy cried wolf, I guess. But he's going to transform, and he does confirm that he has been around here. So, like, he's the one that's kind of separating. The other guy's, like, yelling at him, like, what the fuck are you doing? Not supposed to snitch on us, pretty much. Well, he was the one, the bald guy was pretty much the one that killed him. So, upon being released from the hospital, David stays with Alex Price, the pretty young nurse who cared for him, and they start to kind of build, a bit of a relationship, a bit of an intimate one with each other. Alex tells David that she is worried about his mental state. He might have gone mad. Maybe he's just imagining that he's going to turn into a werewolf or something. Jack, now even more decayed, appears and warns David that he will become a werewolf the next night when there's a full moon up there. You see it in the movie poster. And again advises that he kill himself to avoid killing innocent people. You know, put other people out of their own misery. So David refuses to believe him, but when the full moon rises, David transforms into a werewolf. He's sitting in there, whatever it is, like a flat, I guess, and he's like transforming while what's her name, Alex Price, is at work. So yeah, he prowls the streets and the London Underground, killing 6 people. Obviously, he's not aware of this because he's been transformed. He's been fully possessed. So he wakes up the next morning naked on the floor of a wolf enclosure at the London Zoo with no recollection of what happened, and returns to Alex's flat. He kind of ventures his way through the city, finds his way back to the flat. Obviously extremely disoriented, not knowing what's going on. So, after learning of the previous night's murders and realizing that he is responsible, David unsuccessfully attempts to get himself arrested in Trafalgar Square. Like, he's yelling obscenities, you know, he's causing like a public disturbance, trying to get this police officer to arrest him so he doesn't hurt anybody that night. But he should probably try to kill himself, like, seriously. So, calls his family to say he loves them, and loses the courage to slit his wrist with a pocket knife again, trying to kill himself, trying to eliminate himself out of this equation so people don't have to go through the misery, the wrath of a werewolf like him. So, David sees Jack, whose skeleton is now showing, outside an adult movie theater, and this is probably one of the more comical parts of the film. It's just hilarious, like adult film, like a grown, I don't know, like a porn theater. And they're sitting there talking. You hear like they're talking. Sorry, by the way, I'm not cutting this out either. They're talking to each other. And you're hearing like a girl moaning in the background. It's pretty fucking funny. But inside, Jack introduces David to his previous night's victims, some of whom are furious with David and suggest different suicide methods to free them from their undead states. So once he cuts off his bloodline, well, they're not dead. He didn't kill them. They're like zombified pretty much at this point, which is what David is. So, or what's his name? Jack. So David transforms into a werewolf inside the cinema. He decapitates Inspector Villiers and wreaks havoc in the streets, killing several motorists and bystanders. So this is like the third act of the film. This is when shit starts to go down, and he's just going on a tangent, going on a wrath towards other people. The police surround and trap David in an alleyway. Alex arrives and runs down the alley and tries to calm David by saying she loves him. Doesn't really work. Although David's consciousness briefly appears to recognize Alex. You know, he kind of like, he's like this, like, I don't know how to make the face, like, pissed off, and then he kind of like loses this tension in his eyes and stuff. But then he lunges forward and is shot by the police, reverting to human form. And this is weird because the weird part is this is where the movie ends. Like, they kill the guy. There's no like aftermath, no nothing from Alex or anything. They just boom, the movie's over. I don't really understand that, but it is what it is. So let's get into the critical reception. So getting into kind of the review, I would say it's about a C to B movie. I don't think it's bad, but I'm not going to sit here and praise the fuck out of it either. I'm only giving it a C to B because it's close to a B, But the thing is, it just doesn't hold its weight up anymore compared to other movies because so many movies have copied it. I know that the original should get all the credit, but there's other movies that have definitely done this concept better. I would say Fright Night's probably a better one than this. We've watched plenty of other ones. I can't think of them. Um, but it's terrifying and funny in almost equal measure. John Landis' horror comedy crosses genres while introducing Rick Baker's astounding makeup effects. A couple guys trying to get a gig. It's pretty good. It's about average though. I'm not gonna sit here and glaze the fuck out of this movie. I don't think it's that good, but it deserves a watch at some point if you're a horror fan. Carnivorous lunar activities rarely come any more entertaining than this. Again, it's kind of the originator of werewolf type stuff. Obviously, there have been other ones, but this is one of the pioneers of that. You know, it's not just gory, but actually frightening. Not just funny, but clever. Like, it goes deeper than what it's supposed to be on the surface at times. It's a curious but oddly endearing mixture of horror, film, and spoof, of comedy and shock, with everything grist to its mill, including tourist Britain and the wedding of Prince Charles. Special effects are notable and signaled new developments in this field. So yeah, they definitely had some really good special effects in this movie too. There's a lot of like revolutionary things in this movie, I would say. Um, the transformation effects by Rick Baker changed the face of horror makeup completely in the 80s. Like, you do have to give them credit for that. That was completely revolutionary, completely innovative. That was really cool that they did that. Some disadvantages. I mean, An American Werewolf in London seems curiously unfinished, as if director John Landis spent all his energy on spectacular set pieces and then didn't want to bother with things like transitions, character development, or an ending. That is its problems. It weighs way too much on special effects than actual like the art of the film and like making it good. So yeah, I'll be right back, guys. All right, so we're gonna finish out the critical reception real quick. This will only take like a couple minutes, but the film has some inconsistent tone, juvenile humor, somewhat poor direction, emphasis on shock value to the detriment of continuity and plot. Again, there's a lot of things, and I feel like this is a problem with a lot of movies of this time, that, a lot of things they sacrifice for, just the pure shock of it all, like sell theater tickets, and it's not always a good, it's definitely, usually not a good thing, obviously. But Rick Baker's makeup effects and Jenny Agutter's performances were pretty good. Like, those were the two main strong points here. But thanks to the director's insincerity, slapdash approach, and what appears to be a thinly veiled contempt for the material, An American Werewolf in London doesn't really succeed for me. I will still give it like a C or B rating depending on, but as like an excellent movie, as a movie that I would want to go back to and watch over and over again, I just don't see it. I just don't see the longevity of it. But I'm out, guys. I have to get ready to go play some basketball for a couple hours. Then I'm going to go work on a project, probably go eat dinner, work on homework. I'm a pretty busy guy this evening. I'm going to watch the Sopranos episode as well. I'm going to try to get on that John Morant grind as well. Might even try to grind that like tomorrow fucking night. I know I'm about 4 of the challenges in, and I need like 8 wins with Sixers players. I need like the 40-point games, all that type of stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If this video is a little long, I apologize. Again, I know people are kind of like complaining about the length of my videos. I'm sorry. I don't really know how good a content you're gonna get this weekend, just because I'm studying for finals and I'm not gonna have any like crazy video ideas while I'm doing that. So yeah, I have like 5 hours worth of homework to do in the next 12 hours. So, which is cool. I should have time to do some stuff. But peace out, everybody.